Hi. In this video I wanted to share something that I've discovered about Bash by basically trial and error or like by stumbling into it, and that has to do with unusual instances where quoting doesn't work the way you would expect. And so let me kind of just jump right into it and start showing you what I mean. So I think most people should know that the eval built-in is sort of like what evaluates code directly. So if I give the eval string echo a, it will run the code echo a. So that's equivalent to just running echo a by itself. So and you have to be very careful with this command, because if a user of your script passes something accidentally to this value that is code, it will just execute that. So that can be potentially very dangerous, because any command will just run as it appears here. So like that I think most people have heard about. But basically similar behaviors can be observed with other commands as well, as it turns out, which I haven't seen like it ever mentioned ever here in the Bash reference manual or anywhere else. So hopefully this will be interesting for people to know about. So the first command is declare. So declare allows you to like the name suggests, declare a variable. For example, you can type declare a equals test, for example, and that will declare that variable and assign this value to it. So I can check that by typing declare -p a, and that will print out the kind of the code for declaring that variable. Basically, it's a very useful built-in command in Bash that kind of allows you to do a few extra things, which I won't go into here. But basically, what is kind of unusual about this command is that it will in fact kind of do something similar to eval when you pass a value to its arguments over here. Like it doesn't behave like other commands when it comes to arguments. So basically, if I were to type like echo a equals and then like put a pair of parentheses and pass like some values here, it will tell me that it's a syntax error. But if I type declare, I'll use -a here for array. Then that will declare it as an array. So it treats its arguments differently. I could of course just do this and that will kind of have the same effect, but with declare it's a bit more explicit and it's easier to see like all the attributes that you set to a variable and stuff. It's kind of maybe a bit kind of like you don't really see that done a lot, but I like using declare quite a bit. It makes everything more kind of explicit in terms of what it is that you are doing with your variables. But basically, so it behaves differently when it comes to the arguments that you pass over here, as we just saw, because like echo throws an error, but declare doesn't, and it just treats it as a variable declaration, which makes total sense. I can even pass like several of these here, and it will also declare them. So declare -pab, and we get both of them declared. So that works. But then you can also quote these things in their entirety, and that allows you to do things like assemble in strings these declarations and then pass them to declare separately. So this so let me let's see, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna change something. I'll add some stuff here so we see that there's a difference. So if I run this with them quoted, it's like it also works. But then you might ask, and this is kind of similar to the arguments that you can pass to like any other command. So like echo would echo that if we gave those things to it, and the single quoted strings work kind of the way we normally expect with echo. It just kind of it's a literal value of that string. So and with declare it seems to kind of work the same, and you might think like, oh okay, so like if you don't quote it, it will just treat it as a kind of variable declaration, but if you quote it, it will be literal text. And it is not actually literal text, because let me show you something. I will insert here some bash code, like I'll put here echo test I don't know 1 2 3 4 5 6 for example, and this is a command substitution. So that should if I pass it to, let me pass it to echo first, and you see that it, like bash doesn't see it as bash code. In this case it just treats it as you would expect a string literal to be treated as. It's just a series of characters. But if I pass this thing to declare, then let's see what happens. Let's see what it declared. It declared that value. So this echo command actually ran. So it basically worked here like eval would kind of do in a way. Like, you see what I mean? It just kind of, it doesn't behave, the string literal doesn't behave here the way that you would expect with other commands. And this is important because you might think like, oh, I can just like assemble a bunch of stuff here and it will be like a safe declaration of my literal value, but it actually won't be that, because you're passing like literal code, you're giving it code basically here, and it will get evaluated, and the result will be what is declared. So so yeah, I hope this makes sense. Like I don't even know like why I have this bash reference manual open here, because it doesn't have any information on this at all, as far as I could tell. But like, I mean, I've been through this manual quite a bit, and maybe I missed something, but I don't think so. Like honestly, it's very unlikely that I did. But if I have missed something, please let me know. I'd be very interested to hear about that. Yeah, like if we go to try to search for string literal, or I guess single quotes. Let's look at single quotes. So this is kind of a very straightforwardly defined rule here, that enclosing characters in single quotes preserves the literal value of each character within the quotes. A single quote may not occur between single quotes, even when preceded by a backslash. So this is like just supposed to be kind of like, according to what is stated here, just that. But with declare it is not. And with eval, eval just does what is specified, and it's like if we look at help for eval, it will say that execute arguments as a shell command. So eval actually just treats it as like echo would, just like what eval does. It runs that code. So this kind of works the way you would expect. Like, yeah, whatever like strings I pass to it, it will treat it as bash code and run it. That's what eval does. But with declare, you wouldn't expect this kind of thing. So this is weird. And it can cause you a lot of trouble if you're not aware of this. But yeah, and like this doesn't stop here. Actually, there's more commands that do something similar, but not quite as drastic, but still pretty drastic, I would say. So the commands that I'm talking about are like, here's some examples. Maybe it's not an exhaustive list, but printf, read, and unset. So what do all these commands have in common? What they have in common is, if we'll look at help for Can we open several helps at once? I wonder. Let's see. Let's try that. Read unset. Yeah, you can do that. Great. So what all of them have in common is that they can accept a variable name as an argument, or as an option argument in this case. So printf can do this -v option. You can pass a variable to it, and read can take variable names as well here, and then the last one is unset, and it also takes variable names. So let's see what where it behaves in similar ways here. So so we already have these arrays defined here, so let's kind of continue working with them. So let's start with unset. So unset, as the name suggests, unsets a variable or a value in an array. So if I pass to it a 0, for example, and run it again, you can see that the 0 index has and its value has disappeared from the array. But then, like, sometimes you in a script this index might be something that is programmatically inserted there. This actually might work better if I let me declare another array. This time it'll be an associative array, just to make it extra super clear. And this array can have strings as keys, so like any string, and not just a number. So let's see, let's do this, and where's my declare thing? So let's declare that as well. So in a script you might have, like, I just declared an associative array just to show that it's kind of, you know, like you might have a number of named folders and like paths to them. Maybe the path would be the value and the kind of the location name would be the key, something like that you might have in a script. And then you might need to insert the key value, and that value would be stored in a variable. So let's kind of mimic that here. So let's call it, I don't know, k for key, and I'll set this k to AAA. All right, so now let's say you want to unset this value within your script, and the variable stores the key name. So with unset, actually, as it turns out, which I also had to find out by trial and error, is you can just pass it like this. You don't have to like double quote it. So it turns out you can actually just do this, single quote it, and put the $K inside there. Again, not explained anywhere. You would expect that, like it says here, single quotes, like it should be a literal value, but in this case, Bash can like deal with it even if it's single quote, or like, yeah, it treats it as basically whatever you have here in the square brackets. It will actually evaluate it like as code, and I'll show you this in a moment. So let's just start with a variable name. So I'll press enter, and let's take a look at our stuff again. So let's see, what did I do wrong here? Oh, I set the wrong array, so it should be C instead of A. So you see that now the AAA has disappeared. It's like, okay, well, I can insert variable names there, and I don't have to like worry about single quoting or double quoting. It just treats the string in this way, and like that, then it interprets whatever is in square brackets. But you have to again be careful with this, because like let's set k to BBB now. So we have this value here. And if we do $, let's do now a command here, echo $K, and you would think, well, that's crazy. This is not gonna work. Well, let's see if it does. What do you know? It works. So it evals this stuff as well. Kind of, maybe not evals like technically, but you know, it does this, and it runs this code. So like, yeah, that's not really explained anywhere, and I find it super weird, and I have no idea how people are supposed to access this secret knowledge other than by just stumbling into it like I did. And the same thing goes for the other things that I mentioned here. Printf, I mentioned three commands: printf, read, and unset. There might be others like that I can't think of that do this similar thing, where they have a variable name, and whenever you have a variable name like that, you can always give it an index or a key. So that will refer to an array element. So, and whenever you have that, like within the square brackets, you can do this. And same thing with printf. Like, let's just kind of try something. So let's do printf -v. Let's put it into our C array again. Let's do DDD, for example. And well, this is kind of not really demonstrating what we're trying to demonstrate here. So let's do set k to DDD, and let's set this to like something less, again, like crazy like this. I could also put just $k there, but I'm just doing this to kind of make it extra super extra clear. So %s \n, for example, and let's just say this is my message. Enter, declare p, and there we go. Everything is there, even the new line at the end. So yeah, I could use read to do the same thing, but yeah, it's strange. I don't know why this is not documented, and yeah, like I just can't really understand this. But I really wanted to share this information so that perhaps people can be aware of this. So I hope you found this video interesting and helpful. This is it for this video. If you would like to support this channel, you can do it at ko-fi.com/linguisticmind. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.